Gotta call up, book. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Together.
And welcome to a very special edition of the True Patriot podcast. It is February. This is our second episode of the month that we are putting out here, and we are continuing with the theme of health, anglers' health, and just health in general. More specifically, we are going to, on this episode, we are going to dig down into the nuts and bolts on recreational therapy, the what is it, the why is it important, and what does it do? Before we get going too much further with this, I do want you to understand where we're gathering our information from. For this specific episode here, I'm going to be summarizing information, quoting information, and paraphrasing information that is presented in an article from a website called gotliveeels.com. The name of the article is Fishing Therapy. Now, why did I choose to use that one article? Because of all the articles and all the research over the course of the last year and a half that I have been doing online and going down as many rabbit holes that I can, this one article is probably hands down one of the best articles when it comes to summarizing things and just putting it all in an area. I'll tell you, when you start looking at some of the medical journals out there and peer-reviewed sites, it's very important to do so to be able to validate a lot of that information on the scientific tip. However, a lot of the terminology, it's unless you have a degree in these areas, sometimes, especially the peer-reviewed analysis, that stuff can get a little mind-boggling. So the whole purpose of this is to better understand it. This article there, along with a secondary article that's tagged with this, and this might all be from the same one. It's a little bit difficult to tell, but the article is by Abigail Wise, How Fishing Makes You a Better Person According to Science. We're going to be reading from that. Like I said, we're going to be going through this. Now, I want you to also know, it's important to understand that I have cross-referenced this information. Anytime I start talking stats and so forth, I basically try to do my best to go out and find supporting information that validates those numbers. Simply disagreeing with something or liking what you're reading is not proof, folks, right? It's about fact. And that's what I'm most interested in. And when we're going to put our name next to something, we want to know and feel good about it. So we've done that. So we've got paid our due respects there to our sourcing of information. So having said that, we're going to basically, like I said, we're going to try to go over this, talk about, Romans Warrior Foundation, our involvement in those things. As you know, we made the announcement. I'm the program manager with Romans Warrior. I've joined the Romans Warrior Foundation team. Great group of people, an amazing family, all rowing the boat in the same direction and providing service to others. That's really, that's at the lion's, that's the lion's share of what we do there. So having said that, let's dig in, man. Let's get after this. And keep in mind, some of this data is coming, from a few years ago. I believe, according to what most I was seeing on this article, some of this is pre-COVID. So I know these numbers have even gone up even further. Because of the current, COVID situation, the post-COVID times, all that good stuff. So let's start digging into some of this information here and let's go after it. It is estimated at this time that some nearly, and we're talking about men, women, children, 50 million Americans, over 50 million Americans enjoy the sport of fishing on some level. That's a heck of a number out there. There's an even higher amount that are interested in taking a look at it. Now, when we talk about fishing, let's first classify this out. There's different forms of fishing. What I do on the competitive tip should not be considered the therapeutic piece, okay? Because there's a lot of stress that comes with that. Yes, it's still fishing, but it's under a lot of scrutiny, and it's under very stressful situations that we get put under time limits, competition, so on and so forth. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the two forms of fishing that I call them. There's active fishing and there's passive fishing. What's the difference? Passive fishing would be sitting with your buddy or your friend or your family, your relative, and throwing some bait out there on a float, a bobber of some kind, and sitting back and waiting for a fish to come along. That's passive fishing, okay? Active fishing would be more in the lines of using artificial lures to go out and imitate prey, if you will, and you're seeking game fish, usually in most cases. Some fish that has a predatorial instinct that you're trying to fool that fish. So a lot of times you're more interacting with your rod and reel and so forth. The majority of what we do when we do recreational therapy type events is active fishing. Okay, we're getting out, we're moving, we're engaging, and we're doing all kinds of things like this. So that we have those active, passive, not competitive, more recreational is what we are aiming at. Few people in this world right now experience what would be known as perfect mental health. I'm not even quite sure what that term means. But, being free of, stress, worry, guilt, anxiety, uncertainty, man, I think it's safe to assume that pretty much all of us at some point or another engage these things. Now, for a certain sector of our communities, those senses of stress and worry and guilt and anxiety, uncertainty, they exist a little bit longer and a little bit more than in other sectors of our community. And that's, a lot of times we're talking about our veteran community, our first responders out there, the Gold Star families, as we've been taught and we've learned the whole family serves in these cases. So one of the most renowned and proven ways to deal with these things is some sort of healthy recreational activity. Okay, science knows this. We've discovered this over the years. They found that by engaging in healthy recreational activities of some sort, it can do things such as boosting your self-confidence. It can teach you problem-solving skills. It helps promote clearer thinking and focus. And on top of it, as a side benefit in many cases, especially the events that we host, it enhances your social interaction. I mean, you're getting out and you're doing things, right? As fate would have it, fishing is one of those activities that provides all of these benefits and pieces. As I said before, we're not talking about competitive fishing. Tournament fishing is something that's a completely different animal. We're talking about getting out, hiking around a pond, fishing from the banks, getting in a kayak, going to a small body of water and paddling around to find that sweet spot, and bang, getting on some goodness, making memories out there. Active fishing, from the deck of a bass boat, be it the back deck or the front deck, doesn't matter. And you get out there with the equipment, you can engage and you can find fish in areas of a body of water that perhaps you normally didn't even realize that these fish were existing out there. These are all experiences, that we try to provide with the Romans Warrior Foundation. We're dedicated to providing these services and these activities to veterans, first responders, Gold Star families. The activities that we currently try to book and provide for are like day fishing trips from the boat. We can do a day fishing trip from shore, day fishing trips from the kayak, mini retreats for groups of these warriors or a family or families. We'll do mini retreats. By mini retreats, we mean some destination probably here in either Indiana or here in Colorado. It's not too far away. It's usually local that we try to pool from as far as the participants. But we also do destination type retreats as well, where we try to go to a destination in the U.S., such as down in the Ozarks or up in, say, the north branch of the Mississippi River, up in Minnesota, Wisconsin. Go to the Great Lakes. Get down to the Gulf. Get up in the mountains for a retreat up here in Colorado. These destination types where we want to fly in participants from around the country and engage them in perhaps an activity or maybe something that they normally would not do for themselves. These are all part of these examples. The reason why we do that, what benefits do these activities provide? Let's get into that a little bit further. All these activities together and combined individually, they encourage independent thinking and behavior, and the benefit of that it's in a low risk environment. There's not huge critical. If the independent thinking and behavior piece, when you're making decisions out there, when you're trying to fish like that, it's these subtle little impact areas that it gets a chance. There's not a critical decision that needs to be made, but it's one that you're making because you want to. You're engaged in it. It creates an opportunity to literally take a break and get away from your daily stress. This is another benefit piece with that. For a lot of folks, getting out bass fishing, what I learned, and just in general, is it's a brand new skill. They have experience doing other types of fishing, but the techniques that myself and a lot of the other anglers in the angler network of the True Patriot Outfitters that we try to provide and teach, these are brand new skills for these guys and gals. As they learn these new skills, and I've seen this very situation take place, it builds confidence. I had an opportunity to work with a Marine at one of the Warrior Bonfire programs. He had not had a lot of experience, had not been in a position to have experience with doing certain types of bass fishing, but his son at home desperately wanted to learn more. Well, after 3-4 days of spending time and teaching some different techniques and showing some rigging and letting this dude get on some fish and, try these skills out and prove to himself, he went home so juiced and so excited to be able to show his son what he had learned with this. And he felt confident. He told me this flat out, that he felt confident going back to show his son these things. I got to tell you, folks, when you hear that stuff and you see it firsthand, it's all the wine in the world you need right there. And that's what fishing can do in these type of events that we set up. The hope is that a lot of these warriors and heroes that we work with get basically that bug. Regular fishing opportunities, it gives people a chance to actually look forward to something, that's enjoyable, that's pleasurable. Friday, we're going fishing. It puts that in your head. It's countdown has begun. How many times have you been set and ready to go for a big vacation and you started counting down the days, man, and you were looking forward to that vacation that you were about to go take, or a big dinner with some family and friends that you were really looking forward to. By setting these things up, we provide that opportunity to these folks, these heroes. Other areas of what these activities provide, a tremendous amount of satisfaction can actually come from catching an amazing, specimen of fish, or maybe a fish that you've never caught before. You get an opportunity to catch that, get a picture of it, send it back, and just watch it as it, and learn about this species of fish. In some other areas, if you're out fishing by yourself, the stuff we do is all catch and release, of course, in our areas. But when these folks get a chance to continue these skills, they can actually go, and as long as they're following their state harvest, limits and so forth, there's a sense of accomplishment to go out and catch dinner. I mean, if you've never had an opportunity to experience that on a camping trip, highly suggest it. Flat out tell yourself, Thursday night, we don't eat unless we catch something. That sense of accomplishment there is huge. It's a big deal. And it can provide these little simple pleasures like that can provide quite a bit. Therapy fishing, if you want to call it therapy, it's recreational fishing, right? It's done, when we have our events, they're done in small groups, and it offers a chance for networking and socializing for these heroes to connect with people that walk in their shoes. Many times that's at the source of a lot of situation is where these heroes and warriors, they don't have a lot of people to talk to because no one else has, walked in their shoes. No one else has done what they've done. And that can leave you with a lot of times a sense of just isolation like that. I openly tell these heroes and warriors that I work with, I'm not a veteran. I will never be able to fully 100% understand what a combat veteran has gone through. And I don't even try, to be honest with you, because I don't want to tread in that area. That's theirs. That's their area. But I'm absolutely here to listen and to try to do a better job of understanding, what they're dealing with on a daily basis. And just because I may not walk in their shoes doesn't mean we can't, do certain things to help them. And this is how: recreational therapy, fishing, therapy, if you will. But nothing beats that connection they make when they get a chance to socialize and network with other like-minded individuals. And that's what we're trying to foster and create with these events as well. Unlike competitive fishing, recreational fishing can pretty much be a relatively inexpensive activity. It really can. Once you have your gear lined up and things are in place, that's something that we plan to help with as well. Through working with the great company of Shields out of Johnstown, Colorado, we have a list right now of several, any of our events that we go to, we have a rod and reel and some basic tackle put together that we're going to put in the hands of these warriors, these heroes, and they're going to take it with them when they're done so that they can carry this on and continue forward. That's what happens when you work with great companies and you work with great sponsors that want to get behind what you're doing. And that's what we're here to try to create. Believe it or not, throughout a lot of these activities and things that we host and put on, it is a meditative activity. It allows you to basically practice some skills with near to almost complete silence at times, right? What this does is it really brings in, it puts your attention in one location, and it allows you to literally be in the moment. It's just you, the nature that's surrounding you, the outdoors, your skills, and that wonder of where is the next, next fish going to come from. And what this does for folks that don't normally get a chance to do this is that it creates that focus and that center, a grounding, if you will. And it's so vitally important to help them obtain these simple things that maybe some folks take for granted. But I can tell you, when you're void of those things, these things become more valuable than you'll ever know. So if we, through these activities, can provide that avenue, it just adds to the paramount rating, if you will, of these activities. And believe it or not, despite what my body shape would indicate, it is a mild form of fitness. Okay, it is you're getting out, you're being active. If we're hiking around a pond, if you're paddling in a kayak, even if you're in the boat, we're moving around the boat and we're engaging. Way more activity than sitting on a phone, sitting in front of a TV, or sitting in a bar somewhere. Way more activity than that. And that engagement of that mild piece of fitness, that's just, doubling up on the benefits at that point. This is, if you can grasp on this, this is kind of an overall piece that we're talking about. That kind of summarizes up what a lot of these activities do. Regardless of where we exist on the mental health, mental wellness spectrum, what can be agreed upon by everyone is that we all benefit from an immersion in nature, to just promoting good mental habits, healthy habits, things of this nature. Okay. When you get an opportunity to experience Mother Nature, and get out there in the natural environment, get away from the man-made as much as you can, and get into just the naturally made, it brings in a sense, and we have proven this, we've seen this, it helps calm anxiety. Okay, one of the major contributors that people of all ages and all generations still deal with, either daily, momentarily, or just, constantly. Chronic anxiety, if you will, around every corner. When you engage the outdoors, we know for a fact it does help to calm anxiety. That much is certain. That going hand in hand with that, when you see these wonders of nature, waterfalls or lakes or rivers and streams, when you're around those and you see the growth, the plant life, the animal life that's around those, that natural beauty that you take in subconsciously helps stimulate and promote positive thoughts, positive moods. It provides, avenues that other things, the concrete jungle can't provide. That's another point that we know as well. One of the other things, like we say, when we book a day trip, we're going to go rain or shine, provided safety, is number one. Obviously, no lightning storms will we ever partake in, but if it's raining, we're still going. And that's another piece on a mental health benefit that fishing promotes, is that ability to persist through less than ideal conditions. We're still going to go have fun. We're still going to go engage. We'll provide, some rain gear where we need to help folks make sure that they, if they don't have any themselves, but we're going to get out there and we're still going to have a blast with this. These are all some of the mental health benefits that the fishing activities that we provide, it teaches, with this. It's easy to kind of sit there and, only go out when it's, beautiful weather, this and that. Again, as I said, we're going to maintain all safety precaution that's needed in there, but nevertheless, we're going to get out and we're going to go rain or shine. We're going to go have a blast, throughout the event. The other areas on the mental health piece that this helps is when you do get around that beauty and you get around the natural made environment, it brings, as I said before, a sense of grounding to the table. It allows you to kind of get focused more on the real, the tangible, and get away from the virtual, stress piece that comes out there. Outdoor activities, just in general, what we know through research is that it creates a fantastic source for problem solving, especially with fishing. If we're working a certain bait and it's working for a while, then it stops working. We have to figure out why. Or if a certain bait isn't working, we're trying to find a pattern out there when we're actively seeking these fish. So that creative problem solving piece comes into play. And getting involved in those activities helps do that. And what that does actually in turn is it really focuses your brain on that, which is a non-stressful situation. And so that, inadvertently provides a stress relief factor that comes into play with this. The other area of getting into just physical fitness and tying into the outdoors and spending time out there, what it does is it does expose you to sunlight, to fresh air, to things that you perhaps normally wouldn't get in your day-to-day life, especially these heroes and warriors that we're working with. A lot of times they maybe don't have that many opportunities to engage in this. What we know for sure is that those items help improve sleep patterns, physical fitness, the outdoors, sunlight, things of this. So in turn, again, this is another activity that just helps. Now we know that through indirect or direct measures, it's improving sleep patterns for folks, a good section of folks out there, which just in turn helps focus, helps mental health. You see where we're going with this. It is a huge piece. The relaxation, the destination, style, mini vacations, if you will, all these things come around on the mental health piece. That the activities that we can provide, working together out there, it just continues to dig further down into it. Now, of all the mental health actions that our veteran communities and first responder communities, Gold Star families deal with, there's probably nothing more buzzworthy, if you will, than PTSD. Or some organizations are looking to take the disorder off the end of that. They want to take the D off and just call it PTS. No matter where you lie in that debate or whatever, post-traumatic stress, it shows up in many different ways. It gets used quite a bit, maybe in situations that it doesn't pertain to, but it is probably the most recognizable term out there. There is notable and I guess sourced information that shows that fishing activity outdoors has a direct impact when it comes to PTSD. Now, I'm going to read a couple sentences here, and this is quoted. This is from Abigail Wise, How Fishing Makes You a Better Person According to Science. I just want to read you this opening paragraph piece here from her article. The combination of mental relaxation and an easy form of exercise could also help those who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. A 2009 study shows that fishing can lower PTSD symptoms and increase the mood of those who suffer from this disorder. After 3 days of fly fishing, participants reported a 32% reduction in guilt and a 43% decrease in feelings of hostility. The feeling of fear was also reduced by 30%, and sadness dropped by 36%. A portion of these positive effects remained even a full month after the fishing retreat had taken place. Plus, on top of that information that you just got right there, it helps you unplug from today's digital world. It gives participants an opportunity to naturally recharge, which I can't stress to you. If you're listening to this and you're not in this community, if you're a potential volunteer, if you're a potential just a supporter of us here, and you're not a veteran, you're not a first responder, and you don't normally spend time outdoors, I want you to try it. Put yourself in that position once. Just go for a hike, go for a walk. When the weather warms up, wherever you're at, go for a walk around a body of water. Find some activity to go do around water. And I want you to just pay close attention to your mood, pay close attention to your surroundings. Just be there. And you watch what happens even for you. Now, compound that. Okay, take that to the next step where we have a sector of these heroes and warriors that are dealing with some baggage that they're working on. They're dealing with some situations and experience that kind of create some more challenges for them. Imagine what we can do for them. Imagine what these type of events, would be able to help provide. I'm not even going to get into the personal side of this thing to really just express, the importance piece, the deserving factor. But these are things we can do. These are areas, these are services we can provide. We take it very, very seriously at the Romans Warrior Foundation. We are dedicated to finding ways to provide these services. As an organization, we have the motivation, we have the connections, we have the information. And by working with larger corporate sponsors, individuals, small businesses, we can make these services a part of everyday life right, in our local communities. My objective is to start here in Colorado, right? I'm going to establish, our footprint here very, very thick footprint, if you will, for lack of a better word. We want to provide this, at this point, and then we are going to expand this through working with other people. One of the areas on the business that I own, the True Patriot Outfitters, we are continuing to build what we call the TPO, True Patriot Outfitters Anglers Network. All right. Now, this is a network that is comprised of outdoor enthusiasts, recreational enthusiasts, all the way up to professional anglers. Have agreed to be a part of this so far. And we're going to continue to grow this. And they're from all over the United States, okay? Different regions throughout the United States. And we are going to expand that from the kayak fishing to bass fishing to walleye fishing, trout fishing, fly fishing. We're going to continue to build this network for this piece. These anglers have agreed to be a part of this network. And the whole point of that is to eventually volunteer their time to help us provide these events in their, regions of the U.S. Obviously, we put out broad emails to the entire network. And if the event is taking place in their section or someplace they feel that their schedule allows them to get to, they get back with us and they let us know that they're on board, they're coming, and they're going to be at this. That allows us to rally resources, around. We're going to continue to expand this network over and over, working with the Romans Warrior Foundation, through and through. The piece in this that puts it all together, as we all know, money makes the world go round. And with the proper funding in place, we are prepared at the Romans Warrior Foundation to execute these plans, put these things into action immediately, and ready to mobilize. We'll mobilize whatever resources we have together to make it happen. The importance piece, the recreational therapy piece, we've spent, the greater portion of almost 30 minutes here going over it. I hope you now, by the end of this, can understand that this is a real thing. Recreational therapy, specifically fishing, that I try to provide we will do hiking, hunting, you name it. We're going to put it all together as we get more subject matter, experts on board with us to help us in these areas. We plan to coordinate, collaborate with other, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, equine related services that we try to work with. The Allegiance Ranch and Rescue. Fantastic organization. Check them out. We work with them, and we're going to continue to work with them to try to collaborate efforts to, even participants to the Romans Warrior. We want to bring them to the ranch and introduce. They have a mission and they have a specialty. We have a mission and we have a specialty, that we're doing. This allows us to work together for the same people and just provide even more support and service. But as I said before, this type of thing, we have a lot of the intangibles in place to make this happen. And we do have fantastic donors and supporters that continue to help us where they're able. But obviously, our plans are to reach more veterans, more Gold Star families, more first responders and their families. We want to expand this, right? I mean, we're not serving... we're not comfortable being where we're at. We want to continue to grow this to reach more people. So to do that, let's talk about ways you can help, things you can do. The low-hanging fruit, the easiest way to impact across the board, the widest, impact piece that we can offer in ways of help, of course, is donations, okay, from individuals, small companies, things of this nature. Other areas that we can do through donations here, and this is where, it kind of helps us expand our network, is many larger corporations out there have committees. These larger corporations can impact at a little bit higher level, financially speaking. And so what they have are committees that get together and they find ways to help and reach out in the local community. Getting us connected with them, giving us a connection piece, raising awareness about the Romans Warrior Foundation in the local areas, that is a fantastic way. Just facilitating a conversation, allowing us to share our mission with these committees would be a huge help. It's very difficult sometimes to be able to reach all of these areas. And a lot of times if you come in with someone's referral in there, folks are a little bit more willing to at least hear the mission and see the details a little bit further and then make an educated decision on whether or not it's a service that they want to support and get involved with out there. So if you know of people at these larger corporations or know of these committees and you can provide us with some contact information to be able to reach out to them, to share our mission with them and solicit for donation and funding to help us, with these deals, absolutely, that would be a huge way. Other areas, if you are a person who possesses the skills of grant writing, obviously we can take as much help in that area as we quite possibly can. There are lots of grants running around out there for these very type of services. And we do our very best to continue to try to hone our skills and work in these areas. But as we know, sure, we can all work QuickBooks, right? But it doesn't replace actually having an accountant do your taxes for you. H&R Block is great, but at some point or another, you start to get overwhelmed with other areas. Same situation for a lot of nonprofits. As grant writing is always an area that we can use support in. If you know of one who might be willing to help us, in some areas there, that would be a phenomenal way to support us and help us with, providing successful grant writing to different areas. Volunteering, of course, help us at these events. We always need volunteers at these different events, the day trips that we put on, some of the retreats, we need volunteers to help us with these. You can help us fundraise at different fundraising events that we're going to be going out to, or if you have an idea for a fundraiser that you want to help coordinate and put on, that is a huge, huge help. These are all areas that, like I said before, we're not stuck in our own ways. We're here for one purpose, and that is to serve. And if we can work with other folks and you have good ideas that help provide that service there, we are wide open to working with you and hearing more of it. Providing, a lot of these events, we want to provide either snacks or lunches and so forth. Some people have, provided, companies will help, with catering some of these events, other areas. We've had people actually just make food, in these cases. Some of the destination type retreats where we bring folks here and we do multiple days, a lot of times we'll host dinner right here at my house. That's our game plan, where we're going to have a dinner right here. If you can help in that regard, supplying food and so forth. It's not large groups, but it is, a little bit, we're going to have 4 to 5 people, maybe 6 people total. So those could be ways that you could, these are all ways you can help out with this, that I got to tell you, by giving your time like that, it means so much. These are ways that we can work together to take care of a section of our community that more deserves our support. And then just, again, networking, information. The donation piece that we offer for small business individuals and large companies, there's a general purpose donation that can go in there. There's also, we have programs where you can actually sponsor a vet. We will have, say, for instance, on a retreat style that we put together, if we're doing it for a small group, we'll usually have, say, three vets together that we bring together, or first responders, that we're going to be taking to, on a location or wherever. As a company, as a small company, a bigger company, as an individual, you can sponsor that vet for that trip, so that basically we can give you a breakdown of what it's going to look like for costs, that it's going to cost us after we've worked out as many deals as we can. And you can actually help cover the cost for just, that individual. So it costs them literally nothing. So we can go that far as sponsoring a vet on these individual trips. You can also, a lot of times, what we're through the Romans Warrior Foundation, we try to put together different events that are meant for a family. So a small family, that a Gold Star family or a small family that is could use one of these connection type deals that we're trying to put together. You can sponsor that family for their event or their trip. And then, of course, the bigger ways you can sponsor the entire event. One of the nice things, the True Patriot Outfitters will be in touch with whoever these donators are. They help support these events, because our objective will be to work with you to make sure that you get definitely the proper type of exposure you should get at some of these events here. Through supporting the Romans Warrior Foundation and our events and our families and warriors that we're working with. So there's different levels that we can go, and just really working together. Other areas, if you're not in a position to do any of those things, here's the simplest one out there. Share our mission with others. If you've heard from us, you know what we provide, you know what we do. Share it out there in the local communities. Let people know when you're talking about this stuff. On the social media tip, a simple like, a share of a post, something that you really like, subscribing to the YouTube channel for the True Patriot podcast, Romans Warrior, the Global War on Terror Wall of Remembrance. Hit these social channels, the likes and shares. I'm telling you, folks, it is a huge, huge deal. The more traction we get, it just allows us to play that numbers game, that sooner or later it's going to come across the desk of somebody or come across the phone of somebody who's been looking for something that they want to either engage in the service or sponsor one of these events. I'm telling you, it's a huge deal. Those subscriptions to the YouTube channel, the likes, the follows, it really is a massive help for us. It improves the exposure piece to both potential warriors and heroes that we're trying to serve and to potential sponsors. So at the end of this deal, folks, which is where we're at, recreational therapy, it's real, very real. It heals. And it can be done by simply working with us here at the Romans Warrior Foundation. There are many organizations that engage in some form of it, for sure. But obviously, for selfish reasons, I am here with the Romans Warrior, and that is our objective. Our partners, Allegiance Ranch, Warrior Bonfire, Operation Equine, Wolfpack Support Services. These other organizations that we work with, we're going to be getting connected in with some companies up north here for some ice fishing trips. They are critical parts of this whole process, and we plan to continue to work with them. Two major companies that have helped the True Patriot Outfitters immediately with providing these services are the two that I'm wearing, Vicious Fishing and Shields, Colorado. These organizations do amazing work with us here at the Outfitters and allows us to provide services to our nonprofit partners out there. And we plan to expand on that. We plan to move forward with that and do everything we can. I want to add to this list of more companies that are willing to, step in here and help us provide these services, engage the outdoors, bring fishing, right into the lives of many of these deserving heroes, warriors, and their families. So listen, thank you folks so very much for sticking with us here through this entire deal. I hope you feel a little bit more educated on what recreational therapy is, how we at the Romans Warrior Foundation plan to implement it and use it, and how you can help us with it. I mean, that's a huge takeaway here. Just help us network, man. That's at the end of the day, that's all we're looking for. Spread the mission, spread the news, and help us network. If you know of some people, reach out to me, DM me, hit me on the email, gcampbellfishing@gmail.com. Hit at the website, G Campbell Fishing. Go to Romans Warrior Foundation. Hit us up there. You can hit us at RWF Retreat on social media. You can hit us at G Campbell Fishing. True Patriot Outfitters on YouTube. There are so many ways you can get a hold of us. Google True Patriot Outfitters, Google GC Fishing, any one of those, Google the Romans Warrior Foundation, you'll find us. Okay, we're out there. Hit us on any of those channels. If you have some of this information that's pertaining to this, just direct it at me, and I'll be your first contact with this. As always, folks, thank you so very much for taking the time, trading with us here, and sticking with us here at the True Patriot Outfitters and the podcast. We could not do this stuff without you. We have much love for you. Stick with us. A lot of fishing stuff will be coming up here in the future, and a lot more interviews we'll be throwing out there. Tight lines, folks. Be safe.